saddle pals, always together in all kinds of weather, reeling, rocking, rolling down the trail.
Hi everybody, it's Phil, and back to follow up on our last lesson. Last time we talked about coming out to our parents, and we talked about how it's important to give your parents time and let them think about it, let them understand who you are and what the situation is. It's important to do that. It's very important to understand that your parents are going to have a lot of different reactions. A lot of them are going to be very accepting. A lot of them are going to be confused. There was a friend of mine when I was younger who was a very cute young man. Very, very, very sweet young man. Very, very effeminate. Everybody knew he was gay. There was no question about it. He didn't have to really come out to anybody because his whole life was being out. That's how he was. But his parents would never accept it, particularly his father. And because of that, he suffered a lot of abuse, and eventually he took his own life. And when it was in the newspaper, his father talked about how his son committed suicide because he wasn't able to get on the football team, and how he'd missed out, and he had various illnesses, and they kept him from sports. And that boy was no more interested in sports, certainly not football. And I just wanted to kill that father. The lack of understanding, the lack of acceptance there was incredible. You know your parents. When you tell your parents, you know who you're telling. So those are important things to remember, very, very important things to remember. Because some parents go into, like that father, denial. That's a very common thing. And an even more common thing that goes along kind of with denial is parents don't want to be blamed. It used to be psychologists thought that if a boy turned out to be gay, it meant that he had a strong, over-possessive mother, and probably a weak or maybe even non-existent father, and that these were the recipe for being a gay person. I don't believe psychologists think that anymore, but that used to be a very common thing, and this is something that's been kind of passed down, and I think that parents react to that, and they want to deny it. No, I didn't do that. I'm not that kind of a person. I didn't do this to my son, and they want to feel like they're not to blame, and it's important for you to get across to them that you don't blame anybody, that you are what you are, and that there's nobody to be blamed for anything, because there's no reason to blame anybody for anything. Serious note, though, in telling your parents, while I say many and most of the parents will be accepting, even though it may take them a few weeks, a few months, eventually they'll understand. But there are those who will never understand. There are those that are homophobic. There are those that are violent. And you know who they are. You know if your parents are like that. You know if your dad is homophobic and prone to violence for that sort of thing. If that's the case, then you want to keep it to yourself. Be who you are as much as you possibly can, but wait till you're out of the home. When I was living in San Francisco and on Polk Street, you would see every day up and down young people really too young to be on the street, selling their bodies, making their life any way that they could, because their folks threw them out. That was their reaction. You're gay, I don't want to have anything more to do with you. You're out. So like I say, you need to know your parents when you come out. You need to know yourself. You need to know what your situation is. It's important to be comfortable. It's important that you can live the life that you want to have, so it's important to come out. But if your parents are prone to be the kind to be violent or to throw you out, then maybe you want to hold off on telling those particular parents. Anyway, rather than end on a rather sour note, next time we're going to talk about sex versus love and its relation to bisexuality and bisexuality in general. So that's what we'll talk about, and if any of you have any questions for me or would like to talk, message me. I'm right here. This is Bill, and I'll see you all later.
Work is over, reeling, rock and rolling down the trail.